I think the biggest thing I've learned with stress is I've always written it off as if you just work harder, it'll go away. Working harder just makes it worse. I'm Sam Gettinger, owner-operator of Gettinger Family Custom Meats. In 2018, we had just opened our second retail shop, our third location. I was kind of running myself ragged, trying to stay up on all three locations and stay at one location and do work. So that's where the stress started to build. So in September of 2018, I hadn't been feeling well.
I remember when we first got the call from Sarah that he had passed out, we got up here before the ambulance and he was on the floor. I
ended up in the hospital. The doctors, when they did my colonoscopy, first thing they asked was how much stress and how much does this guy work. They literally saw inside my body what was going on, and it was the stress that was basically making me feel awful. I think the biggest thing after the Crohn's diagnosis was just learning to tell people no, and that you can't do everything, and you've got to let your employees do things. Even though you just want to do them to get them done, sometimes letting someone else do it is the best thing to do.
He got better. We were just sailing along, and almost 2 years later, he wasn't feeling well, thought he was going into a Crohn's episode. The local doctor did the tests that indicated something wrong in the blood.
I was diagnosed with leukemia, AML, acute myeloid leukemia, and by 4 o'clock the next day, on January 21st, I was getting my first bags of chemo. I was out of commission. I had to walk away from everything. And as a business owner, when you've got 25 employees, that's tough. And it's not just tough on me, it's tough on my family, my employees. They're the ones that, when things went wrong, I was the one that was supposed to fix them. And I wasn't there to do that for 5 to 6 months. And so that was tough. And then COVID happened. And we were deemed a essential business. We had to stay open, and it was chaos. My dad, my mom, my wife, my brother, everybody kind of filled in to help, because I was either laying in a hospital bed or at home laying in bed. So I was really no help at all. After I was in remission, I was back to where I could go back to work. When you take that much time off, you really don't feel like you're allowed to leave again. And so that was pretty tough. I didn't want to take a vacation, take a weekend off, take a day off, because I felt I owed it to my employees and my family that I needed to make up for 5 months off. So about a year ago, I was complaining and whining around about not being able to be all three places, and it just being stressful. And I had made the comment that I either need to sell the retail shops and focus on the locker, or sell the locker and focus on the retail shops. And one of the guys that worked for me said, "Hey, what do you want for it?" So 2 of the guys that worked for me, we got together, worked out a purchase agreement and a price, and now I go there and just cut meat. I don't have to answer the phone. I don't have to deal with customers. I just get to relax and cut meat. And so it's almost went from being stressful to being a stress relief. I think as far as dealing with stress, the best thing is to be able to shut off at the end of every day. Whether it's 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, come up with a cutoff and say, okay, that's when I'm done. Shut it off, spend time with your family, go outside, do something. And a lot of times I say, oh, well, I'm going to go out and work. I'm not going out and working, I'm going out and de-stressing, doing something that's not job related, whether it's going down to the farm with Dad, with the girls, playing with the show cattle. Those are the best way to unwind and, just walk away from it. I've been around farmers my whole life, and they're a lot like meat cutters and generational meat packer families. We're all very prideful, and we don't ask for help when we should. So ask for help. There's resources, there's people you can talk to. Sometimes just talking to somebody can completely change your mindset.